transfer? Well, many ways, as you'll see in this video. It could be weird because of a reason, like the club selling them even though they're an important player. It could be the club that this person has decided to go to is maybe a downgrade. It could be that the club buying this player is totally unnecessary. Whatever the reason, as you'll find in this video, I've selected 15 very strange transfers that have occurred. Let me know in the comments below. Firstly, if there's any here which you think should definitely not be on this list and is not strange at all. And most importantly, any weird transfers that have happened this window which you think I should have included in this video. Now if you want to know some of the weirdest, strangest of all time, well, I did a video on that a while ago, so I'll put a link in the description towards that video, so check it out if you haven't done so already. But anyway, let's begin with number 1. They're in no particular order as well. Maybe at the end of the video I'll decide which is my weirdest transfer so far. But number 1, we have Musa Niakate, Nottingham Forest to Olympic Lyon. This one is pretty random, not because he's moved from Forest to Lyon. That makes perfect sense, there's not really anything weird about that. But more so the fee. Lyon have signed some great players in the past and are a very good club who are slowly getting back towards where they once were. They've actually made some really interesting moves this summer. Now, Musa Niakate is a good player who was pretty decent for Nottingham Forest. He's a very solid centre-back, and moving to Lyon isn't weird. It's a step up. He's a good player. I think he might do well there. But the weird thing is the fact they paid 31 million euros for him and have made him the most expensive player in Lyon history. Now that is very weird. I mean, he's a good player, as I said, but the most expensive player in the club's history. That's a bit of a stretch, and very odd, or just maybe stupid why they've paid that much money for Niakate. Number 2, Hiroki Ito, Stuttgart to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have made some very poor transfer decisions in recent years, and this one appears to be another. Hiroki Ito joins from Stuttgart for around £25 million. He's a centre-back who can at times fill in at left-back as well. Now he's a solid player. Had a good year at Stuttgart, but he's by no means a world-class defender, or even has world-class potential if I'm being brutally honest. He probably will never reach that level. I have no problem with them signing him as a depth option, that's fine. But the fact they have signed him when they already have Matthias de Ligt, Deo Upamecano, Eric Dyer and Kim Min-jae on the books is very odd. They're most likely going to sell de Ligt, and that is because they have signed Hiroki Ito, which is really odd. I'm not really sure if Ito is actually an upgrade on de Ligt, to be honest. So it's a very weird transfer, as he was just not needed. They have plenty of centre-backs, and being brutally honest, I don't even think he's better than any of the centre-backs they already had. Right, number 3. Cameron Archer Aston Villa. Now, this one was agreed last season, but it's been made official this year, and is just one of the most strangest transfer clauses I've ever seen. I've never seen this before. So, Cameron Archer's deal with Sheffield United saw the Blades agree an £18 million deal for him from Aston Villa last summer. But the deal would only be triggered if he had stayed in the Premier League. An initial instalment of a fee was paid last summer, but following their rock bottom finish, he has now been bought back by Aston Villa. I don't think I've ever seen a deal like this before, to be honest. Essentially, they loaned him for a season to Sheffield, but instead of it being a loan with an option to buy, technically they sold him, but then bought him back for the same price because he got relegated. It's such a weird deal, but now Villa have a player who scored just 4 goals in 32 games last season, and I don't think Villa particularly want to keep him, and he'll most likely be sold anyway. It's just a very strange clause. There's definitely some sort of PSR financial thing about this deal, but either way, I've never seen this before. Number 4. Amari Forson, Man United to Monza. Amari Forson broke into the Man United first team this season, along with a number of youngsters from the academy, such as, of course, Kobe Mainoo. Forson made 6 appearances, 4 of those being in the Premier League, and while he was pretty raw and wasn't like Mainoo or anything like that, he looked like a decent prospect and somebody who could potentially one day break into the first team. Man United, however, have decided to let him go and not extend his contract, letting him leave on a free. He's joined Monza in Serie A, which is another odd part of this deal because it's very rare you see young players like that going to Serie A from a Premier League. But the main weirdness about this is I'm just surprised United didn't extend his deal and at least get some sort of fee for him. Maybe he pushed for the move and didn't want to extend, but letting him go on a free is a bit of a surprise given he broke into the first team last season and looked like somebody who at the very least could be on the part of the squad for Man United. Number 5. Leopold Querfeld, Rapid Vienna to Union Berlin. Leopold Querfeld may be a name Football Manager fans are aware of, as he's a fantastic wonder kid design on the game. He's not just a great wonder kid though, he's also very good in real life, not just the game. He's a 19-year-old centre-back who started every game in the Austrian League last season for Rapid Vienna, impressing a lot, and even made it to the Euros with Austria, making an appearance at the age of just 19 at the Euros. He had a lot of clubs interested in him and he's seen as a real exciting prospect. Some Premier League clubs such as Crystal Palace were keen, yet he's decided to join Union Berlin. Yeah, a really odd move. Union Berlin just about survived relegation last season from the Bundesliga, so if it was for Berlin he was joining last season where they were playing in the Champions League, I would understand it. But now joining a club who could very possibly go down next season, I don't know, I feel like he could have got to a much better club than this, to be honest, so it's a bit of a weird move for him. Number 6. Luis Gilhem, Palmeiras to West Ham. was the last time West Ham signed a hot prospect Brazilian wonder kid? Yeah, I don't really remember that happening. So it's very strange to see West Ham shopping in Brazil and signing one of their best wonder kids out there as well. He was linked to some big clubs, but he opted for West Ham. It's very weird. They spent 25 million on him as well. So yeah, when he was linked to some huge clubs, seeing him rock up at West Ham, for me, that is a little bit weird. They may have landed on a gem here, but it's still a bit random, to be honest, that he's gone to West Ham. I'm surprised Lewis Gilherm even knew what West Ham as a club was, to be honest, without no disrespect to West Ham. I'm not sure they're the biggest club in Brazil, to be honest, so yeah, this was a very, very strange deal, in my opinion, but one that could potentially be amazing for West Ham. Number 7, Moussa Sissoko, free agent to Watford. Moussa Sissoko is back in England, and he's back at Watford. Yep, at the age of 34, he's returned to Watford, and of course it does make sense as he used to play for them. And importantly, he played alongside the current coach Tom Cleverley, but that is what makes it slightly weird. Sissoko was playing literally alongside Tom Cleverley in the midfield in the Premier League for Watford, and he's the exact same age as him. And now Sissoko is going to have to listen to the guy who is the same age as him, who he literally played alongside and arguably was better than as a player, as his manager now. It's a bit odd for him, and I'm not entirely sure how personally I would take that, because as I said, Sissoko arguably was a better player than Cleverley when they played together. So yeah, it's a bit odd, and also in general, age 34, I'm not really sure how much he can give to Watford. It would be a great story if he pulled out under Cleverley, but surely for him personally, it's a little bit weird taking orders from Tom Cleverley now. Number 8, Waldemir Anton, Stuttgart to Dortmund. Stuttgart had an incredible season last year, finishing second, and you've got to feel for them as their squad is starting to get ripped apart. As I said earlier, Ito is gone, Girassi is gone, and now Anton is gone. This move is a bit weird, but not entirely, as I do understand it slightly. Now Anton is Stuttgart's captain and led them, after many years with them, to the promised land, the Champions League last season. It's a great achievement for him, and you would have thought, as captain of the club, he would say, you know what, I'm going to have that honour of leading my club out in the Champions League as a captain. However, he's jumped ship straight away, and it's not even to Bayern Munich, where I would understand it, or even Leverkusen. It's to Dortmund, who of course are a great club, but still, they are going through a bit of a transition with their new manager, Nuri Sahin, and also, last season they finished below Stuttgart anyway. I don't know, it just seems a bit weird that he's left the moment they got into the Champions League. As captain, I would have thought he would at least see out the project and play a season with them in the Champions League, but guess he's seen it as the best opportunity while his stock high to leave. But if Stuttgart finish above Dortmund again, yeah, he'll have some big egg on his face. Number 9, Daniel Jebbison, free agent to Bournemouth. Daniel Jebbison has joined Bournemouth, which for me is a very odd move. Now Jebbison broke out of the Sheffield United Academy and entered the first team when they were first in the Premier League a few seasons ago. He looked quite promising, and was seen as the future number 9 for Sheffield United. It didn't work out though, and in the Championship he scored just 1 goal in 16 games. In the Premier League this season he played just 1 game, and overall he's played 29 games for Sheffield United and scored just 2 goals as a striker. Now he is only 21 and of course could turn out to be a good player, but I don't know, at 21 I would like to see a bit more from him. And I'm not really sure why Bournemouth have got him, unless it's just a profit thing and they're just going to loan him out. Hope he does well and sell him, because realistically I don't see a world where he breaks into the Bournemouth first team now or even in the future, to be honest. So I'm not really sure why they've gone for him. He's a Championship level striker at best. Number 10, Bobby Reed, free agent to Leicester City. Reed is a very solid Premier League player. He was pretty good for Fulham and a decent player who played most games for them, contributed in many roles and looked very settled. His contract expired this summer, but Fulham did offer him a new deal. He turned it down though, and I thought, okay, if you do that, maybe you're looking for a more starring role at a different club, or you're going to try yourself at a new project in a new country or league, as he's getting a bit older now as well. So maybe he's going to go to Saudi, collect the bag, something like that. But no, he's joined Leicester. A very, very big sideways step, in my opinion. You could even argue a downgrade, because it's a team where I don't even know if he starts. I don't even know if he plays as much as he did at Fulham. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, at this point, you probably should have just stayed at Fulham, in my opinion, because unless you're going to start every game at Leicester, which I don't think you will, what really was the point in making that move? Surely if you're going to leave Fulham, you're going to go somewhere and try something completely new. Leicester, not really. Number 11, Wes Foderingham, free agent to West Ham. Wes Foderingham had one of the worst seasons a goalkeeper has ever had in the Premier League. He played 30 games, got just 1 clean sheet and conceded 79 goals. That's an average of almost 3 goals a game. Foderingham, of course, got peppered in goal, and his defence was to blame, but he was also really, really poor, making many errors in goal last season for Sheffield. He eventually got dropped as well, yet somehow he's got another Premier League gig. So you're telling me the number 2 for one of the worst Premier League teams of all time is good enough to be number 2 for West Ham? I mean, come on. West Ham can surely do better than that, and they better hope Barriola doesn't get injured, as I really wouldn't have any faith in Foderingham if I was a West Ham fan. Number 12, Vaclav Hildaki, Ipswich to free agent. Ipswich Town have been promoted to the Premier League for the first time in almost 20 years, and remarkably made it back-to-back promotions. Their star keeper in League One was Christian Morton, and he was going to start as their keeper in the Championship. However, a foot injury sustained by Walton late last summer opened the door, and Hildaki subsequently started all 46 Championship games as a key man for Ipswich. It was expected that he would stay on at Ipswich as their starting keeper in the Premier League, but he has rejected the new contract from Ipswich, which is very odd, as you would have thought, having previously played for teams like Salford, St Mirren, in the lower leagues of the Czech Republic, an opportunity to start, or maybe not even start, but at least play in the Premier League would be the opportunity of a lifetime. But no, Hildaki has rejected the new deal, instead with apparently Burnley interested in it. I mean, come on, you have a chance to play Aloysius Vladekimus, Nottingham Forest, to Newcastle. Now, I think this one is more of a PSR deal, but still, it's a little bit odd. Newcastle have sold Elliot Anderson to Nottingham Forest, and in return got Vladekimus. Now, Vladekimus joined Nottingham Forest last year, and despite his strong track record at Benfica, where he was a regular starter for several years, Vladekimus struggled for game time at Forest, making only 7 starts last season. He was pretty bad and got dropped for Forest in January, and they had to go sign Matt Sells in January, who replaced him as number 1. So for Newcastle to buy him is a little bit odd. He's going to be a backup keeper, but even then, he doesn't really seem like a good one, to be honest. So I understand it was probably some sort of PSR deal involved with the Elliot Anderson move, but still, it's a little bit strange in my opinion. But surely he could have chosen somebody else to take from Forest. Number 14, Serginho Dest, Barcelona to PSV. The US fullback spent last season on loan at PSV and helped them wrestle back the Eredivisie title from Feyenoord. He was fantastic, and it was expected his buy option around 11 million would be triggered. However, Dest announced in May that he had ruptured his ACL, and so a permanent transfer was put into doubt. Nevertheless, PSV have chosen to proceed with the deal despite this injury concern. The problem is, naturally, they wanted a reduced fee for the player, as he was of course injured for a very long time, and Barca agreed. You would think, okay, reduced fee, what do you want, like half price maybe? 5-6 mil maybe? No, Barcelona sold him for a fee of £0. Yep, they just said PSV just take him, even though PSV probably would have paid something for him because he was so good for them. They just said, no, you can have him for free. I guess they just wanted him off the books, but still, surely you could have got something from him. I mean, no wonder Barca are in such financial troubles, because when they're negotiating deals like this, I mean, come on. Just get 1 mil at least, get 1 mil from him. Just let him for free, are you serious? Gosh. Okay, and finally, number 15 is a double actually. It's Stuart Armstrong and Jay Adams. Southampton to free agents. Having helped the Saints return to the Premier League, 2 of their key players, Stuart Armstrong and Jay Adams, have exited the club, or actually been released, which is really odd. Stuart Armstrong featured 45 times last season as promotion was secured, and he got 12 goal contributions as a very key player in that Saints squad. So the decision to release him is really weird. I know he's 32, but they've gone and signed Adam Lallana, who's 36, so can't really use that age excuse. As for Shea Adams, this is another weird one, as Shea Adams scored 16 goals last season for them. Yet they didn't renew his deal. He's not like Stuart Armstrong and old either. He's 28. He scored 25 goals in the Premier League across his career as well, so he probably would have bagged some goals for them at the very least. The fact both players have been linked to other Premier League clubs and also Serie A teams show that the Saints may have made a big mistake here, and I don't really know why they haven't renewed their contracts, because they were key players last season who just let them walk for free. But there we go. Those are 15 of the weirdest transfers this summer. If I had to pick from weirdest transfer out all of them, that's tough. I think the weirdest transfer, okay, if I was in the player's shoes, the weirdest transfer for me is definitely the Musa Sissoko one. I mean, seriously, getting coaching advice from somebody you had literally a better player than him, and now this guy's your manager, and you have to take advice from him as your coach. Like, that is crazy. That is crazy. But the actual general weirdest transfer for me is actually the Bobby Reed one. Not from a Leicester perspective. I understand why they got it. It's just I don't really understand why he's just renew at Fulham at that point. Why you going to Leicester or go to a different league or something? Like, it's just a very, very sideways, arguably backward step from him. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the weirdest transfers. Who have I missed out from this video? And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see